This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is, let me see, Mr. Jolly, and you will pronounce it correctly. So nice to see you, nice to meet you, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And tell me a little bit your name, and what do you do, and what's your background, and what brought us together?
Well, my name's Aditya Jolly. I go by Addy Jolly. So
okay, that's good.
And obviously I've heard a lot about you too. And Mrs. Mehra told me that you wanted me to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Welcome.
And I'd be more than happy to share what I do. I am a mortgage lender, mortgage banker. I've been doing that in the area for almost 10 years now, servicing the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia community. And that's what I do. I help people achieve their dreams of homeownership.
Is it going well?
It has been doing very well, especially we're in a great area. You know, this area attracts a lot of people for jobs, etc. DC, with the support of the government, has always been a buoyant area. So it's good to be in this industry, in this area.
So what company do you work for?
I work with NFM Lending.
And what does it stand for?
NFM stands for National Fidelity Mortgage. They're a national lender, headquartered in Baltimore, which is why I like them. And they've been in the business for almost 18 years now. So.
And how big is the portfolio for them? So what exactly, how does this work, lending company? Don't they sell it back to the bank? And
yeah, what they do is...
Explain to us a little bit.
Well, mortgage bankers, we're true mortgage bankers. We don't do retail banking. You don't come and open a checking and a savings account with us, for instance. We focus on lending money for residential housing. And
not the commercial?
No, we don't do commercial. At least we don't do it yet. We haven't expanded into that area. So what we do is we lend our own money, and we don't service our portfolio. So that's,
you do not?
We do not service it because we are large enough to be figured in the top 100 in the country, but we're not one of the big banks, and that's not where we want to go. We want to focus on origination. So the service level experience of a client that comes to us, first-time home buyer, we coach them, we handhold them right from the start to the finish. We lend them money, we underwrite the loan, and then we pass it along for servicing. For servicing, we pass it along because the banks are better geared. They have the online system, they have the call centers in place, they have the support after that. Our focus is to help you get the best loan for you. I'll cite some examples. The bulk of my clientele includes first-time home buyers. And the reason for that is there are a lot of people who locate to this area, as we previously said. There's a lot of employment opportunity. A lot of people for whom English is not a first language, for instance.
Okay.
A lot of people...
so you get a lot of immigrant community.
We do. I get a lot of immigrant community, not only from our part of the world, a lot of people, from the Hispanic community.
Sure.
I have a lot of people in my team who are bilingual. And, I'm working out of Montgomery County, which, as we know, is probably going to have one of the highest influx of immigrant population because of the job opportunity.
It has been for the last 15 years or so.
And being the fact that English is not a first language or cultural understanding, what I offer to these clients is I understand where they come from. I know what they're looking for. I make them feel comfortable. I'm in the service side of it. I earn their trust. I help them get what they want, and then they achieve their dream of homeownership. And it's amazing how many times people have bought houses with me, and their entire family gets on the phone and gives me a call and blesses me. And that's helped me flourish.
Blesses you.
Yeah, thank you for helping us with this. It's probably one of the largest purchases for a lot of them, and I'm part of that. So
that's your strength.
That would be my strength. I listen to understand, not to reply.
But I'm a dollar and cents guy. So I said I go shop around, and wherever I can find the best deal, I get it.
Well, I did not say that.
You do get you probably give them a best deal.
Well, I don't charge extra than the next guy for my service. I offer them their money's worth.
So this is something you're doing at extra.
Yeah, it's
It's the connecting with the community.
Exactly. I understand that it's an emotional transaction. It's not dollars and cents for them. They're buying a house where they're going to raise a family. So I need to understand where these people are.
So there's emotional attachment to it.
Of course, yeah. For us, it's an everyday thing, but for them, it's probably the biggest thing they've purchased.
So, I'm a client. I came here, I don't speak very good English, and I don't know, I'm some part of the world, and I don't have too much money, but I got a job. How do you go about servicing me?
Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, where do you currently live? Do you live with family or do you pay rent? And then,
Let's suppose I pay rent and I live in an apartment.
well, we'll break it down in nuts and bolts. First thing I'll start is, why are you helping somebody else pay somebody else's mortgage?
That's a good point. That's a good question. That's a good thing you have.
You know, the fact that you have a job means you're going to file taxes and not have a deduction on your interest.
You're talking about the mortgage interest.
Yeah, the mortgage interest, the property taxes that you pay, and then.
But I have to pay a certain amount of money before I can get the loan.
Of course, you know, in our county especially, I'm going to talk about.
You live in Montgomery County?
I live in Montgomery County.
Okay.
I'm going to talk a little bit about our county. Our county has a lot of programs for first-time home buyers through the HOC.
Well, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, there's.
So that we will know a little bit about it.
Well, you know, I'll talk about Maryland as well, because Maryland also has a lot of programs. But I'll start with Montgomery County.
Sure.
HOC offers down payment assistance. City of Gaithersburg, and I've mentioned it a lot on the Mortgage Minute show that I do, has $15,000 to $20,000 for down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
And assistance comes from the where? From the community, from the bank, from the...
No, this
from
is...
where? From, not from the local government?
No, it's from the City of Gaithersburg. Which
It is a city of Gaithersburg. So they have a bond? They're floating the bond in order for them to...
City of Gaithersburg has got grant money from various companies or...
Okay.
You know, that support them. So let's say a company's given them $1 million. That money is to help homeownership in particularly the City of Gaithersburg. The way it works is they'll let you use that money to use it as a down payment. The money is interest-free and it's not repayable.
It's not repayable?
It just goes on as a lien. There's no interest accrued on it. There's no payment. When you sell the house,
Did you pay them back?
you pay them back.
But what exactly City of Gaithersburg is getting, besides the fact that those guys are going to be people who's going to be good customer to pay the property tax and so on and so forth? What else are they getting?
They're promoting home ownership in
They're
the city.
promoting the home ownership.
In the City of Gaithersburg.
City of Gaithersburg.
And then
So they're going to have tie up this money for 30 years or so?
Well,
if you don't sell it.
If you don't sell it, it's tied up for 30 years. But for the most part, I mean, national statistics say 7
What's
to
the
8
most?
years.
7, 8 years.
7
That's
to
the
8 years.
transactions.
Yeah, and sometimes what's going to happen is people are going to build equity in the house. They might want to refinance the mortgage. When they refinance as well, they're going to have to pay it back.
Okay, so I give example. I got a job. I'm paying a rent. I live in the City of Gaithersburg. It's a good example.
Yeah.
They're going to help me, but I don't have too much money to make a down payment. How do you convince me that you're the right person for the job, A, and B, to make sure that you have given me all the tools and technology to make sure that I'm on the path forward?
Well, the way I work with my client is I ask them the question of where they want to be and what they want to do. So, for instance, you gave me an example that you live in the City of Gaithersburg, you have a job, you don't have money for down payment. So let's start with the fact that you pay rent that you don't get a tax deduction on.
Okay, so that's the money right there,
Yeah,
which is readily available.
And let me ask you that, you know, you moved to this county or you moved to this area for a reason. You're pursuing a dream. Is home ownership part of that dream?
Sure.
I can help you
It's
achieve
a part
that
of the
dream.
American dream.
It is part of the dream. And, you know, as a matter of fact, I think all over the world, being a homeowner, it comes with a lot of pride. You know, you start a family, you're in a home that you can call your
It's
own.
a source of comfort, pride, and joy.
Exactly.
It's all of the above.
I think you can do my job better than I do, but
Well, I'm not sure.
but you know, so if the only thing that's holding you back is a down payment,
Then you can help them.
then I can help
Then you can tell them what these services are available. They
There's,
can.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times people are not aware that you know, gift funds from family and friends is also a source of down payment that they can utilize. Because once you buy a house, you get a tax deduction. You get your money back. You can help that family member back, the one who helped you purchase the house in the first place. You know.
So a minimum 30-year loan, how much will it cost me?
It again, that's a loaded question. It depends on the size of the mortgage, how much you're putting down, what your credit score
Well,
is.
let's suppose I put down 10% and it's about a $500,000 house in Gaithersburg.
You know,
That's $50,000.
I would love to tell you what the rate is, but compliance requires that I not quote rates on air.
Well, just give me a range.
It could be somewhere in the fours.
Okay. And obviously, you providing a better rate than your competitors in order for you to attract customer, in addition to providing the services that you mentioned.
You know,
before.
I'm not going to be the one that goes out there and touts the fact that I have the lowest rate. However, and the reason for that is, again, I mentioned compliance a while earlier. So let's say Mr. Peter walks into my office and asks me for a rate, and I quote him a rate. Mr. Brown walks into my office and asks me the rate, and I quote him a rate which is different than Mr. Peter. I could be, you know, out of compliance because the housing thing is an equal opportunity thing. So my rate when I'm quoting somebody, it has to be at par. However, if somebody comes and tells me that the guy down the street quoted them at a lower rate, there I have a reason to beat my competition. So if I have something from you which tells me that you are getting a lower rate somewhere
They're
else,
shopping around. They're a smart consumer.
if they
customer.
which most of my consumers are.
They're pretty smart.
They're smart.
Which is what you want them to be.
Yeah, so in that situation, it gives me a reason, because if I get audited by compliance or RESPA, I have a reason right here that this client of mine came to me with a quote from a competitor, and I had to match the quote to
Sure.
earn his business,
Sure.
and I can offer him a lower quote. I don't think I've lost a client because of rate.
What have you lost then?
Qualifying,
Qualifying for them to buy the house.
qualifying for them to buy a
Because
house.
there's several things that goes into
However, and here comes the best part, I've had clients that I worked with for maybe 2 years. And throughout the 2-year process, I've coached them, which is a big thing for a lot of them. Because you see, we don't get paid until the loan settles. So for me to coach a client for 2 years so that they can achieve
So
a
it's
house,
a long-term process.
it was a long-term process in that, and sometimes clients
But
walk
it
in the
did
door.
mature into opportunity.
Of course. So, and we were in touch with them throughout the process, and throughout the process, they referred us, they were friends. I'm working with Addy, he's helping me out for the last year and a half.
So it's word of mouth.
It's word of mouth, we don't advertise.
You don't advertise.
No, we don't advertise, mostly word of mouth, yeah.
Is that right?
You don't see us on a billboard in the back of a bus.
Well, but you advertise in the TVs and the newspapers
Well,
and the community newspapers.
Well, the TV, I would say, is more of an information sharing medium. We're not particularly advertising to come and give us business, per se.
Now let's talk about the Dodd-Frank Act. You know,
Yes.
that's the big things going on with Elizabeth Warren and everybody else.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. What's the impact it has on mortgage business?
Well, you know, just like any change, there's resistance to it. When the Dodd-Frank Act first came in, there were a lot of heaves and sighs and oohs
All of
and
the above.
ahs, you know, and then, you know, slowly everything started falling into place, and we started realizing that it's actually better. It's better when you have loan officers that are working for you who are not driven to charge additional fees to their clients, because now the compensation, especially in the mortgage industry, is based on the volume. So, you know, where you had clients that were being charged points, 2 points, you know, in some cases people were getting gouged. That has gone away now, because now
So there's no point system anymore?
the point system is available if the purchaser wants to pay a point to buy the rate down. That's not for revenue to the
Okay,
to the
I
loan
got
officer.
you. Yeah.
So I'm going to quote you a rate. Whether you get a 0% interest rate or a 10% interest rate, the revenue that I make out of a loan, for instance, is based on this volume of the loan, not the rate that I'm quoting you. So that incentive, and that's the good of the Dodd-Frank Act, which I'm in favor of, that has taken away the incentive for somebody to gouge a client.
So it makes the mortgage company more stable?
I would say it makes the
The
mortgage
financial institution.
Yes, it
And also it makes the consumer obviously more smarter in a sense that they know what they're getting.
exactly. So I mean
So
that's
you're in favor of Dodd-Frank's Act?
I am. I mean, initially, just like everybody else, any
the-
change, I was like, no. But then I realized that, you know, this is actually better, because it takes away that point of contention off the table.
So that's what you do full-time?
That's correct.
What do you do in free time?
Well, I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Got two kids?
I got a son and
That
a
will
daughter.
keep you awake all night?
Yeah, you could say that. But yeah, I spend a lot of time with my son. He enjoys soccer, as do I, and I coach his
Soccer?
team. Yes.
5-year-old, 7-year-old kid soccer?
Yeah, he
That's
started when he was 2.5. Yeah.
good. Is that part of the gene, DNA?
I would think so. I play still. I play twice a week too.
How do you get the customer to your organization?
You know, we have
You said word of mouth.
we
Satisfied customer. They're the best
Exactly.
customer because you've seen their expectations.
we work with a lot of referral partners.
Okay. So
You know,
give me a little bit of shed some bright lights on it.
the referral partners that, I mean, I'd say the top of the list of our referral partners are builders and realtors.
Okay.
Realtors more say, because, and even in a national study, it was, I tell all my loan officers, 80 to 88% of our business comes through realtor
Realtors.
referrals. So we
So you have to establish the partnership
Yeah,
with
we
them.
have partnerships. We are preferred lenders in certain offices. Realtors send us the bulk of our referrals. Then financial planners nowadays send us a lot of referrals, because diversification of portfolio. Real estate is an important part of it, especially over the last several years when people started losing money in stocks, 401ks, bonds, ETFs, and now real estate is an important, especially if you can leverage your credit. It's a good way to diversify your portfolio. So we work with financial planners. It's not our area of expertise, but they bring us in, and there's some cross referrals there as well.
So what's the typical housing price is in the city of Gaithersburg? And then I'll go to Montgomery County, then I'll go to Potomac, Maryland, and Chevy Chase.
City of Gaithersburg.
It's not that expensive.
No, well, the funny thing is Gaithersburg, for instance, has one zip code which is divided into 3 cities now. You have Gaithersburg, North Potomac, and Darnestown. And you go out of Gaithersburg, now you're getting into 600-700, and then you go into Darnestown, you're getting into $1 million.
What about Potomac?
So Potomac crosses
20854.
Yeah, that's all.
That's the zip code.
That's all $1 million+ deals. So City of Gaithersburg predominantly, the side where these down payment assistance programs goes, I would say, is in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, $250,000 to $400,000.
And those are the new housing, or are you talking about the old housing?
We're talking about old housing, not new houses.
So what kind of things do you educate the customer, your customer, to make sure when they buy an old house, what kind of process do you go through to make sure they get a good house?
Well, one thing
As soon as they walk in, it's leaking.
Yeah.
That's not what you want.
No.
Okay.
One thing I always tell my clients is, they don't, for instance, somebody will walk in and say, I don't want to buy a house for more than $250,000. And I'll be, why don't you want to buy a house for more than $250,000? It's because, and they're like, I can't afford a house for $300,000. I said, well, who did you sit down with to qualify yourself? Who knows you can't even afford a house for $250,000.
Sure.
So, that's why, nowadays, even the seasoned realtors or top producing realtors will first send their clients to a mortgage lender.
Okay.
Because once you understand the numbers, once you know what you're approved for,
Then you can work with them.
it's a lot more confidence when you go out shopping. You have how much you can buy. But more importantly, it educates you where if you're looking at a house for $250,000 and you fall in love for something for $280,000, for instance, that $30,000 is probably going to make a difference of $100, $120 a month.
That's probably true. Maybe less than that if you're a 30-year mortgage.
Exact-
Usually you do 15 to 30 years.
Mostly 30 years.
30 years.
Although a lot of people nowadays that have been refinancing because of low rates are doing 15 years because they don't want to, re-amortize over 30 years. And then, there's a little trick I tell clients, go for a 30-year mortgage, send one extra payment, and you pay it off in 23 years.
Which is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it is.
So what's the future for NFM for the next 5 years?
Well, we are expanding. I know when I started talking to these people almost a year ago, they were at about 21 branches nationally.
So they're expanding.
They're now at 39, and they're.
It's all in Maryland?
No, they're a national lender, but they're headquartered out of Maryland. They give back to the community. They're headquartered in Baltimore. That's what attracted me to them.
So they engage in community. They're being part of the community.
Exactly.
They don't take the profit out.
They're giving back.
They're giving back to the community.
They support the servicemen. I know they send stuff to people who are deployed abroad. We do 5,000 runs. We do supporting walks, etc. So
you give me some ideas because we're doing an event at our home called TAPS.
Okay.
Which is the veterans.
Uh-huh.
And the veterans in this case, their spouses have been killed or something happened in the war. So we help them to go through this process and also help them financially.
Oh, that's
so
great.
that's what that is. Is that something you guys are sort of interested in?
It's definitely something we'd like to look at. We can
Like to look at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to help the community. We're part of the community. We engage in the community, and
So you do the sponsorship,
we do the sponsorship. We give back.
which is a very good thing to do. What about the other thing besides that you do in terms of the community engagement?
Well, I think annually we give away houses in Baltimore City.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. People who cannot afford it.
Yeah, we give away houses in Baltimore City. I know we've done a refurbishing of houses for free.
Okay.
Where the CEO of the company, it's all over our website as well. We'll a house that is a shack, for instance, we'll rebuild it. People who work in the company, people like myself, will go paint it. We'll fund it. We'll help a family, live in a better state.
But that's a very nice thing to do. It reminds us the phrase that John F. Kennedy once said, that to whom much is given, much is expected, right? Mm-hmm. You're willing to give back to the community, is a sharing and caring.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
For making this audience a little bit more wiser
Yeah.
with your wisdom.
Thank you.
This is Frank Islam saying a goodbye, and also thank you very, very much for watching.